Oh, yeah, it's actually very true. I'm very active in sports. You name it, I've done it. I did long jump, high jump. I was a runner in school. I was the netball captain, badminton captain, hockey team captain. So I did all of that throughout school, except when I went to a girls' school in secondary school, there was no hockey, but I was still netball captain and badminton captain of the school team. Then while doing sports, I injured myself. I'm going to go through this very quickly. My background. Yes, you actually gave an introduction on this. Over 35 years in IT. And I have my own IT company. And while I had my company, I actually sort of went into semi-retirement to do volunteer work full time for about 7 years. And after that, I found Lifewave. So let me talk about my health situation. So as Alfred mentioned, I had injuries from sports in school. Basically, it was netball. You jump very high, you catch a ball. I was known to be able to jump very high, but I landed on my tailbone. I didn't land on my feet. And I actually was momentarily paralyzed. I thought, what the hell is happening? I couldn't move at all. But somehow the pain went away and I actually got up and carried on as usual. I didn't seek medical treatment, like you said, afraid of my mom, didn't want to tell her anything. So no medical treatment. And I believe because of that, the tailbone didn't develop properly. And I'm going to talk about that in a short while. I delivered my first child in my 20s. And after that, there was excruciating pain. You can't imagine the pain, right? It was so stiff that I could not bend my back to actually squat down. I was like, you're talking about cars, right? It's like a hinge that is not lubricated. So it was just so difficult to bend the back to squat. But when you have children, you have to do that. You have to bathe them. And then after I got to a squatting position, I actually couldn't straighten my back because it would have sort of like hardened into that position. So in order to straighten it, it was like, opening the hinge like that. So both ways also gave me a lot of pain. So I had my second child when I was in my early 30s. And I sought all kinds of treatment. I was diagnosed with scoliosis. You can see from the x-rays how bent my spine is. Spondylitis, then I was diagnosed with that. And sciatica, oh my God, sciatica pains, it can just attack you anytime. I remember I went for a holiday with my mom. I took my mom for a holiday. And I was walking towards the bathroom and suddenly the pain came and I actually just screamed because the pain was just so excruciating. And bear in mind, I have a very high tolerance for pain. So I don't take painkillers. I don't like painkillers. Right? So with all these pains, I still went on to do my activities despite the pain. I've tried medical doctors. They say, okay, I need to do surgery and I refuse to do surgery on my backbone. No way. Chiropractors, for many years, I went to them. They couldn't help me. Acupuncture, theta, even the podiatrist. The podiatrist said the pain was because my one leg was shorter than the other. So I had to buy the insert, which was a very expensive insert. It cost me about 1,500 ringgit for one of my shoes to make my legs balance, right? So they're about the same height, but that didn't help. So I threw that out. I've even seen an ancient bone specialist, massage. What I didn't list down here is finally what helped me to manage the pain was actually yoga. To manage the pain, it didn't correct the problem, but it helped me to manage the pain. Now, in one of these situations, I'm going to come back to the ancient bone specialist in a while. So despite the pain, like I said, I continued running. I continued hiking. I went to Everest Base Camp, Mount Rinjani, Mount Fuji. I didn't go to Mount KK, Mike, okay? Everybody asked me, have you gone to Mount Kinabalu? I said, no, I haven't been. It's not in my bucket list, so I don't do that. But the thing with continuing to do this when I have all those issues is that after a run or after a hike, my back is actually in a very bad shape because I can't even bend to unlace my shoes. Yeah, I couldn't because it just took so much effort to bend down to actually untie my laces, right, and to take off my shoes. I'll be like, struggling. But yet I refuse to give up what I love doing. I still run, still hike, right? But what is the difference with Lifewave? Okay, so I started using Lifewave in April 2020. This was actually introduced to me by my yoga teacher. Right, most people will know her, Pushpaja, Jinlong's wife. Now, at that time, she wasn't his wife yet. Now, I trusted her because she was my yoga teacher and she helped me to manage my pain. I never asked questions. Believe it or not, I didn't ask any questions. How does it work and all that? She gave me a trial pack of yarn and said, just try it. So I just tried it. Now, I'm not like Mike. Mike experienced changes in 3 days. I didn't have X39 then. It was just the yawn for the first week. And said, well, the pain did not subside in the first week, but I continued. Then I bought, I started with the bronze package and I continued to use it. Now, then I noticed that when I went for a hike and I came back, I was able to bend and undo my laces. I said, wow, the recovery was exceptional. That was great. That was the first difference I actually noticed. I don't care about looks and all those things because the pain is so excruciating. You just focus on the pain. But you see, my recovery, I could feel the change. I could feel the recovery from sports, but the pain is still there. It's a constant pain. So then I got a bit impatient in November 2022. Somebody said, why don't you go and see this bone specialist? And I did. I went to see a bone. Finally, very good. The specialist made it worse. Right. This is not the first time. In the past, when I saw the Theta masters, they would crack, do certain things. And then I would go for my hike. And after the hike, my back would be so stiff, so painful, I would have to go for Theta again to correct it again. So it was always very temporary, whatever I did. Now, this one, there was no relief. He actually made it worse, my situation worse. Right? So much so that I couldn't even walk 10 steps. Right? So much so that I couldn't feel my left leg after he treated me. It was that bad. So to a certain, I'm responsible for that because I was impatient and I decided to see him. Now, then what happened was in January 2023, first time I met Jinlong, and I told him about my problem and he said, look, I'm going to try something. So I have pains on both legs. So he tried carnosine on the right side. Immediate relief on my right leg. Immediate relief. I said, wow, this is fantastic. Let's try it on the left side. But left side, minimal change. So there was somehow the left leg, the numbness, the pain was very, 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 very stubborn. Very, very stubborn. I continued to patch, right? And to be very, what happened was I also went for recently in December, I went to not a bone specialist, somebody who was born to heal people. He does acupressure and all that. And he looked at me and he touched my backbone and my tailbone. And he said, your tailbone is so badly deformed, right? So badly deformed, he could feel it. And then he actually slowly corrected the tailbone. My tailbone was like a mountain range. That's how he described it to me. So slowly he actually corrected it. It's more flat now. And then he said, same from now onwards, the patches are going to work much better because when your bone is so deformed, the patch cannot correct that deformity in the bone. Right? So in fact, ever since then, these patches, I feel that, is repairing much faster. So much so that when I went to Australia in January for my nephew's wedding, I could actually walk for 6 to 9 hours. Instead of the 10 steps I was able to take, it was 6 to 9 hours with less pain or minimal pain and sometimes no pain. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Like initially there's a bit of numbness and then the numbness goes away and there's absolutely no pain for the 6 to 9 hours. I'm not saying all the time it's like that, but it's just amazing how I'm able to do that again. And recently, I just went back to the gym. I stopped going to the gym because of all this pain. I can't use the equipment. I can't run. I can't do anything in the gym. Right? I was not allowed to take weights anyway. So recently, I just went back to the gym. Now I can run on the treadmill for 20, 25 minutes, and I don't feel the pain. No, it's just amazing. And I am just so positive about, recovering. Do you know at one stage when my pain was so bad and I've gone for all those treatments, I would cry. I would pray for a solution, but I would cry. And I would tell myself, maybe I have to live with this for the rest of my life because I've done everything possible. Nothing has helped. What can I do? Right? But thank God, Lifewave came into my life, Jinlong, Pushpaja, and everybody else I met in Lifewave, they have just been amazing, amazing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to a few pictures I want to share with you throughout this recovery journey and also before I found Lifewave, right? Some of the hikes that I did. I'm not talking about simple hikes, no. Despite my pain, I did all the hikes. And then after using Lifewave, how Lifewave actually helped me with the recovery and I can actually do much longer and much harder hikes. So I'm just going to switch screens. Hopefully you all don't mind. I'm not trying to promote, I'm not a tourism person. This was actually my hike to Everest Base Camp. We started with a flight to Lukla, right? So, and you see, I look pretty fit, but I was always in pain, right? But yet I was one of the fastest hikers. It was quite amazing because I was fit despite the pain. So these are the hikes. It's absolutely beautiful, right? And along the way, that's Mount Everest. Right behind.
Yeah. I think we are still looking at your slides,
Oh, sorry. Can you see the pictures now?
No, I think you have to stop share.
Okay, stop share and share again.
Yeah, correct. And share
Okay.
your thing again.
My apologies for that. Right.
Yes,
You
now
see
we
the
can see.
screen now? Great.
Yes.
Okay, so this is taking the flight to Lukla, which is apparently a very, very dangerous flight because it is one of the shortest runways in the world. If the plane doesn't land correctly, it goes off the cliff kind of situation. So like I said, I know I was very fit despite the pain, right? So there were about 20 of us on the hike, right? So you see all these hikes is wonderful. Every day we hike for 6 to 9 hours, right? And we are going uphill all the time. And you're talking about elevation gain. This is Mount Everest in the back. It's absolutely gorgeous. So when you come to places like that, you forget your pain sometimes. Right. So that's me hiking. Right. And this is actually Mulu Pinnacles. Some of you may have gone to Mulu Pinnacles. It's a short hike, but it's a very difficult hike. So those are my hiking buddies in Malaysia. And this is actually in Austria, some of the Austrian hikes. I go on these hikes on my own. I imagine with the pain, I go on these hikes, but I have my patches, so I'm fine. So these are some of the amazing scenery, right? And you can see my hiking boot there and the scenery I'm looking at as I stop for lunch, right? And that's how beautiful the place is in Austria. And you can see the hiking trails coming up this trail, right? So it's kind of narrow, it's on the cliff kind of situation, but it is so beautiful. And these are the huts in the mountains. You can actually stop for drinks as well as for food. And this is actually just a picture of myself halfway up a hill. And you can see the trail there. right? Narrow trail along the edge of the ridge. And this was actually a very, very tough hike. And I'm afraid of heights. Somehow I had to climb on the edge of these rocks and holding on to the rope. So it was pretty scary at that point in time. And it's absolutely beautiful when you get to the top. Right. So these are some of the beautiful sceneries when you go hiking. So I could just go through this very quickly. I don't want to bore you with that, but it's just amazing. Despite my pain, I'm doing it. But like I said, I'm so grateful I found Lifewave because it helps me with my recovery. I'm no longer afraid when I hike for 7 to 9 hours, I'll be in tremendous pain, but I know with Lifewave, when I get back to the accommodation, I won't have those kinds of pains I had before. Right. So that's me. Must have apple strudel in Austria or Germany. And this is actually a Tour du Mont Blanc hike. My hiking buddies, we did the Tour du Mont Blanc as well a few years ago. And every day is hiking for 7 to 9 hours with a backpack that is about 10 kg on my back, right? So despite my back pains, I had to carry everything on my back and hike for 7 to 9 hours. And it's actually a very, very tough hike, Tour du Mont Blanc. Right, so those are my hiking buddies. You can see we are actually going up the mountains, right? But still smiling, right? Smiling and smiling still, right? Yeah, it's just amazing hikes. Although you're very tired, right? You have good hiking buddies. It's just so fun. And this is one of the huts along Tour du Mont Blanc, right? That's that. And this is the border. We're going into Italy. And that's Mont Blanc at the back. Right, and that's pretty much, yeah, I'll just scroll through this towards the end. And this is one of my best buddies from the hike. She's Malaysian, but now she lives in the UK and she joined us on the hike. Yeah.